Headed to the Lewis Automotive Hotline here. Time to talk with Neal Atkinson from BetSaracen, Arkansas's favorite sports betting app. You can download from the App Store for your iPhone. Android users, Google Play, BetSaracen.com on any web browser. Neal, how you doing today? What's new?
I'm doing pretty good. Just getting ready for this weekend, getting ready for next week. I mean, after this weekend, we start the NBA on Tuesday. We got the Simmons Bank Championship, the Champions Tour that we're going to have some expanded coverage on for next week, and then we got the exhibition games that I'm going to have to come out with the line with. That's always fun, and get ready for the start of the basketball season next week, and we got a little football in between now and then too. So it's called the Sports Equinox, and you throw in the American League and National League Championship Series. I mean, hey, what more can you ask for if you're a sports bettor or a sports fan right now this time of year?
Yeah. Hey, if you're to look at those championship series, there is no such thing as home field advantage in these baseball playoffs, Neal, right? It's one of those sports that you'd think it would matter, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think last night was the first time that the home team won a game last night, wasn't it, with the Dodgers? So, that's something that's something else. And the Dodgers, I mean, they have been the favorite all year long. Right now, they are the favorite, and we saw something. Was it Yamamoto pitched an entire game the other day, and then I think in one of the pitchers in the Seattle went 8 innings. I mean, how do you? I mean, you don't see that very much in the postseason, and if the Brewers can't get the Dodgers going into their bullpen, I got a feeling that we're going to have a Dodgers, and of course the Blue Jays tied it up last night, which you want to see in a series.
A lot of road favorites in the SEC this weekend. It looks like A&M would be one of 4 road favorites in the SEC, along with Oklahoma. Texas, favored by almost 2 touchdowns on the road in Lexington, and Mizzou is giving 1.5 at Auburn. So you don't see too many weekends like that.
No, I mean, the SEC, I mean, right now, I mean, these next 6 games that most teams have left, I mean, it's going to be interesting, and I got a feeling the SEC might have to get out the tiebreaker scenarios to decide who's going to play in the tournament this year. Of course, anything can happen between now and then, but this right now with what you see, what's left on the schedule for teams like Missouri and Texas, that a lot of people criticize their early season schedule. They're going to get into the full meat of the schedule, and the cream will rise to the top, and we'll get a little bit of separation. But there's a lot of interesting scenarios that can happen with the SEC, and just about all of these games in some form or some fashion have a college football playoff ramifications, not just SEC championship. And based on what happens is how many teams, the big question out there in the sports world is how many teams is the SEC going to get in? And that number has ranged from high to low, and it's just going to be a fun 6 weeks to watch this all play out.
Last week, I think when we were finished with our usual Friday talk, about an hour later, the Arkansas-Tennessee line moved dramatically. I think it was like 2 points, even more than that, in less than 24 hours. It looks like the line may have moved a little bit for the A&M game for tomorrow, but we know, based on what I saw last week, who knows what's about to happen in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, this one was a little interesting because it started out at 7.5. It got to 9.5 for a period yesterday, and it was sitting at 9. And now this morning it's back down to 7.5. So. Not just on BetSaracen, but nationally. We've pretty much tried to stay in line with the. But I think the last we were talking about on how the line moved about an hour after we got off the air.
Right.
Yeah, and this week it's a little bit different because the line started out at 7.5. Texas A&M minus 7.5. At one point it got to 9.5 yesterday, and now it's gotten back to 7.5. So. I think people are really, really looking at this game not being in Dallas. It's actually being in Fayetteville, and the way, they responded with Bobby Petrino, the new coach, last week. And, they covered the spread against Tennessee last week. So I think people are feeling better about the team right now of course, it is Texas A&M is number 4 coming in undefeated. If they could, if Arkansas could do what they did against Tennessee last year, that would be a big step in the right direction and probably help Bobby Petrino's resume if he should be selected as the next coach.
As the season is at the halfway point now, you're starting to coalesce around what the playoff could look like. Now we're still, I think, 3 weeks from when the committee actually releases their first set of rankings. But if I'm looking at 3 teams Arkansas has lost games to in this losing streak, Ole Miss and Texas, A&M, and Notre Dame. Well, A&M, I shouldn't say they've lost to them, but they're about to play them.
Yeah.
These are all teams that if you look on BetSaracen, just to reach the playoffs, you're laying money to make money with them because it's minus 150 for Ole Miss. It's minus 325 for A&M, minus 150 for Notre Dame. So, I mean, that'll tell you a lot right there. The teams Arkansas has lost to are basically favored to make the playoffs now.
Yeah, and I mean, the stat that I see coming up, even in my computer simulations that I do, I mean, and this is like beating a dead horse. That turnover ratio is the difference in this season. I mean, I think we've demonstrated that pretty well. And of course, late, the Notre Dame game did get out of hand. Just whatever was happening in the team with the second half. But if you just, look at the turnovers, and again, that the T-shirt that I almost want to buy for Arkansas, we almost always win type scenario, and these 1-point games and these turnovers, and if Arkansas can get a control of that, the second half of the season could be something very, very special. But it takes about execution on the field, and when I was looking at the simulation with Texas A&M, I was just looking at the projected turnovers for some of the Arkansas players, even down to the player level. And, that Taylor Green, 1.68 projected turnovers for the game just speaks volumes to what's already happened for this season as far as in my computer simulations.
Also looking at BetSaracen online, you're starting to see the favorites really begin to emerge as far as the Heisman's concerned. Carson Beck is the favorite at plus 350, but Ty Simpson's right behind him. Fernando Mendoza from Indiana. Nobody else has any better odds than plus 1,500. So it's basically those 3 is what it's down to now, at least on the odds.
Yeah, and last year, the market was pretty much all set. A month before it was. It really wasn't a bettable market because it was just that clear. So if you see some opportunity in there, I know a lot of people had we had a lot of bets. Now, no major huge bets, but we had a lot of bets on Arch Manning to win the Heisman, and we all know what's happened then and where his odds have gone to. He preseason he had some negative odds on the Heisman that I saw. There, and it just goes to show you that what happens on the field. But yeah, there's that Heisman has just not been a very, very interesting race late in the season. So if you're going to make your selection, make it now, because this is probably when you're going to get your best odds. If you don't pick the favorite, you're going with the favorite. It may not be a good return on your money, and there is still some risk, because there's a lot of the season left.
I think that at least twice this year, Arkansas has been picked to have the highest scoring game of the weekend. I think the Ole Miss game was. Tennessee was as well. How does this one with A&M fit in terms of the point total?
Well, we've got the over and under at 58.5, but I do have my projection, and the projection is Texas A&M 36, Arkansas 22. So that's what my computer simulation is. It is not taking in account of the weather, though. That simulation was done before the weather was really, really locked in. We don't like to weight it a whole lot because, it's just so hit and miss. If the weather comes through early, comes through late. I wish I could be a weatherman to, get paid to be 50% right half the time. That's a tough job because Mother Nature has a mind of its own. But this one does not have with the weather. So you may put that into your factor and see what the weather's doing before you make your final bet. But then again, that could move the line. But that's where we've got the projections of it this year. And And boy, the computer model really likes to let Arkansas give anywhere from 36 to 38 points. It's been pretty consistent over the last four predictive models that we have on the simulations. And Arkansas has been around 22, 23, 24 points in most of those simulations too. And it's just, I had to go and make sure the model was pulling from the right data set because it kept returning very, very similar outcomes. And that's just the way the data is crunching.
Neal, we'll leave it there. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk about it next week on Friday. Thank you.
All right, good luck. Everybody stay safe, whether or where, if you're going to be at the game. We got the BetSaracen tailgate there if you're one of the winners there. Check out that promo page, and yes, there is a 50% profit boost, and the Texas A&M and Arkansas game is excluded from it. The reason why it's excluded from it is because we have a 100% profit boost on the Texas A&M game. Go to that promo tab, check it out, and the others with the baseball championship series and the NFL also. So good luck, everybody, and go Hogs, and stay safe out there.
You don't always win your first bet. That's why MyBookie has you covered. Use our code HOGS, H-O-G-S, and your first bet up to $500 is fully covered. If your pick doesn't hit, you get it right back with our Bet Back bonus. Go to mybookie.ag and use the code HOGS to claim your Bet Back bonus. MyBookie's where bettors win together because bragging's good, but cashing in is better. And your first bet is fully covered. Use our code HOGS.
Must opt in during the bet to use the Bet Back bonus.